Okay, greetings everyone. We're just about ready to get started for our session. And before we do, allow me to do some introductions. So, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. And thank you for joining us today. My name is Ryan Damerow, and I serve as the Chief Operating Officer of TIRF, the International Research Foundation for English Language Education. For those joining us for the first time, TIRF is an independent nonprofit organization that works to connect research, policy, and practice in English language education around the world. In other words, TIRF is a foundation that raises money to support activities and individuals in the field of language education. Much of our work focuses on supporting researchers, teachers, and educational leaders through grants, partnerships, professional learning, opportunities, and initiatives like the one we're here for today. TIRF the TIRF AI Show and Tell webinar. Before we begin, I also want to briefly mention that applications are currently being accepted for the TIRF Kathleen M. Bailey Teacher Research Award. This award is designed to encourage and support classroom teachers who are interested in conducting research connected to their own teaching contexts and learners. Applicants must be currently practicing teachers of English. The deadline to apply is June 1st, so we encourage colleagues to take a look or help us spread the word. In addition, TIRF is currently accepting proposals for the TIRF British Council Research Mentoring Awards program, which supports doctoral students and their supervisors through research mentoring and professional development opportunities. We're very proud of this partnership in the ways it helps strengthen research capacity in English language education internationally. I will add that applicants must be from one of the eligible countries and doing their doctorates in one of the countries the program targets. Check TIRF's website for further details. As for the TIRF AI Show and Tell webinar, today our panelists include Anna Peterson from Seminole State College of Florida in the USA, Dalshuan Feng Trang from HCM University of Education in Vietnam, Honor Burns from the University of California, Riverside, USA, and Raquel Ribeiro from the Cultura Inglesa Sao Paulo and Brazilian Paralympic Committee in Brazil. And unfortunately, one of our AI astronauts is unable to be with us here today, but you can still learn about her videos and contributions to this project on TIRF's website and via the links that we'll be sharing a little bit later. Okay, as for an introduction to this session, the project represents 5 language educators from 5 different countries. The AI astronauts or astronauts are charged with discovering, testing, promoting AI tools. And there are also accompanying review cards if you go to TIRF's website for each of the tools that they've checked out. You can also see review cards that are standardized across all of the AI platforms reviewed and learn more kind of some of the intricacies behind the process that was undertaken to review the 10 AI platforms that are composing this TIRF AI Show and Tell series. That QR code that's on your screen right now will lead you to a YouTube playlist, and that's where you can find all 10 of the videos stored. Okay, so with all of these introductions and background information provided, it is now my pleasure to hand things over to today's moderator and one of the leaders of TIRF's AI Show and Tell initiative, Honor Burns. Honor, thank you for your leadership on this project, and please just dive right in.
Now we are going to ask you some questions. First of all, we would like to know actually, where are you joining us from today? So let's see. Mentimeter is loading. Yes, I think everybody has been seeing the same question now. Please, instead of chat, you can also use the Mentimeter button. So we can represent where you're from on Mentimeter. So if there are some people who are not familiar with Mentimeter, on the right side of the screen, you're going to see the white pop-up, and it asks you, where are you joining us from today? And all you need to do, write down and click on Submit.
We've got quite a few people internationally, several from the US, Kuwait, Vietnam, Belfast, Jordan. Pakistan, Nigeria, Brazil. Very cool. All right, we're going to move on to the next one here in just a couple seconds. All right.
So the next question asks, describe your teaching context in a few words. I think you have seen the same pop-up on the right side of your screen. It asks you to enter a word. Please, in that box, describe your teaching context and click on submit. Thank you. So yes, we have people from higher education, intensive English programs, tertiary education, and public schools. So we have a variety of language educators in our webinar today. We have primary school teachers, mentors, instructional technology, EFL to adult education. So it's a big variety.
Very cool.
More answers are coming. As you can see, the word cloud makes the most popular answers bigger.
Okay, let's move on to the next one here. Thanks everyone for that input.
So in this question, can you tell us a little bit about how you are using AI in your classrooms? Maybe you can describe it in 3-4 words or a short sentence. Thank you. Seems that lesson planning is a popular answer, followed by creating rubrics. Yes, some people use creating PowerPoint features of AI. Yes, lesson planning is getting popular and creating images is the new option as I see. Yes, one more answer for planning and proofreading. Personalized material, I think that's nice. We have one answer for creating test items. Theater scripts. See, people are creative using AI when they create theater scripts.
Let's see, I think that's the end of the time here. Let's see, Mentimeter's going to sort the circles from the squares. There's a little summary. Okay. Let me go ahead and we're going to move right over to Anna's Mentimeter slides at this point as well, correct?
Yes, please, Ryan.
Okay. All right.
So I'll be presenting Canva AI and Microsoft Copilot. So you will be seeing questions about how familiar you are with both. That will help me a bit to guide our talk to see how much do we know of these tools.
We'll keep this open for about 30 more seconds.
It looks like a big fight. We have 5 yeses and 5 nos.
It's interesting. And I was trying to work with Canva AI just last night to produce a video, and I was struggling with it. The spelling
Wow.
errors it was creating was really helpful in some ways, but I'm eager to hear from you and see your thoughts on Canva AI.
Yeah. It's way too much, Canva AI. It's a lot. It's a lot.
All right, let's go ahead to this next one.
You see, Copilot, we had lots of higher education, right? In our demographics, let's say. So Microsoft Copilot is really the most popular one in the academic environment. That's interesting.
Mm-hmm. Overwhelmingly, yes. Interesting. We'll let this stay on for another 10 seconds in case someone wants to get their input in on this. All right, let's
Yeah,
go
we
ahead and
do. You
stop.
do have to click on join the Mentimeter so that you can reply to our questions. But if you put your answer on the chat, I can see it too. It's okay. No worries.
Okay, let's jump back over to the presentation here. Thank you, everyone, for adding your comments. All right, Anna, back to you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Ryan. So good morning, everyone, or afternoon or evening. I am in beautiful Florida, the Sunshine State. As I always say, Mickey Mouse is my neighbor. So I like working with nice stuff, fun stuff. I am a professor at the Seminole State College of Florida. I work in the ELI program, which is the Language Institute at the Intensive English program. In this program, we teach students from all parts of the world, literally, each and every session, one more nationality, sometimes unknown nationalities, places in the world that we haven't heard of, and also different ages. Uh, for the first time in my teaching life, I've been teaching for the past 32 years, not at the Seminole College, but for the past 32 years, I have a student who is 91 years old. So as much as I have had kids, I have this new gentleman, and this is just as an idea for you of the variety that we have and how creative we have to be to keep students engaged and learning. I've chosen for the AI Show and Tell initiative two tools that I like using. You can see the videos of this. Today, I'm just going to briefly talk about both. The first one, Canva AI. You can see the logo is that letter C, and then what the picture that you have there is actually the front page, and then you have to click on Canva AI as the arrow is pointing down there to use this generation of content. The next one that I'm going to talk about is Microsoft Copilot, that is the one that is probably more popular in the academic environment, and you can see the logo there as well. Beginning with Canva AI, Ryan, please, for the next slide. So Canva AI is a beautiful, fantastic tool. By the way, Canva AI has nothing to do with Canvas. We use a lot Canvas here in the United States, and sometimes there is a bit of a confusion. Canvas is the platform that we use. It's kind of similar to a Google Classroom. This is where we have all our content, syllabi. This is one thing that is named Canvas. This is Canva. So inside Canva, we have Canva AI, where you can work with tools to help your teaching. So what is interesting about Canva AI? My number one top priority, state of the art, is really gamification and image generation. You can have fantastic, wonderful images. You can create games such as memory games, fill in the blanks. It like the sky is the limit, really, but it is free only for K-12 educators. So if you are a K-12 educator, it is a very simple proofing there. All you have to do is enter your email, or sometimes they ask for a picture of your badge, and the tool will be free for you, which is a huge advantage. If you do have this privilege, go for it. So use to create content for your class, use it for your students to interact. I love, for example, for students when we have a reading activity, they do the reading and they have to type in something to create an image about that reading. Or maybe with their writing piece, they could write something, input their writing, and then they will create an image. And this could circle around. The image could go to another student who will have to write something about that. So it's endless when you are working with picture creation and these beautiful initiatives. There are some downsides, though. It's beautiful, but not that beautiful. The first downside is that if you are not a K-12 educator, you will have to pay for it. So premium services are becoming more and more popular, let's say, into AI tools. As Ryan was mentioning, Canva AI is just too complex. There are too many options. So as there are too many options, it gets a little cranky at times because you have to type in more, you have to prompt more, and this can take you time. My suggestion is that you are very objective with it. So by being objective, I mean create a worksheet for an A1 level class. We are working on adjectives. So be very precise on your prompting and the tool will help you. Otherwise, it's going to take you prompting and prompting and prompting, and this is time consuming and we don't want that. The last click on this slide, Ryan, will be the frustration of every teacher because this is what you see all the time on Canva AI. You've reached your plan's monthly AI limit. Come back next month. So this is very disappointing, but it is the reality. You can still use it if you are patient. The next one, which is Microsoft Copilot. Microsoft Copilot is the crowning of Microsoft Office tools, and it is amazing because in the academic context, we have Microsoft for educators. So it is allowed for you to use this. It is good, it is well seen, and it is reliable. Your institution might tailor what is allowed and what is not allowed, what you are able to do or not. So that there is that adds actually to reliability, to trust, and I do like it a lot. This is the tool that I use the most to prepare my classes, and also even in class when a doubt. This week we were studying England and the king and the queen, and the students had some royal doubts. So I said, okay, let's ask Microsoft Copilot because there is this tendency, oh, let's ask ChatGPT. No, in here we use Copilot. So we can search in Copilot, and it is a reliable tool. Great for research. So again, reliability is what we have here. Even though we can go to next, Ryan, please. Just as I was saying, easily accepted, easily respected. So just go for it. There are some cons though. Oh, I forgot to mention this. Simple to prompt. It is very simple. As long as you are direct, easy to interact with. The next characteristic that I put here that I like very much is that it gives you alternatives. Sometimes you are not that creative, but it will offer you things. Would you like me to? So would you like me to create a PDF? Would you like me to expand this for a level B2? So it is really, really resourceful. I really like. The downsides to this is that it might not be as creative for image creation. So Canva AI is the perfect one for image creation, even video generation. And also Microsoft Copilot might be seen as old-fashioned, exactly because it is the one that is more inside walls, let's say. It is a bit more controlled. People might not enjoy it as much because it may be a little limited. But again, reliable and easy to use. You can see a bit more of this and mostly ideas how to use these tools in the videos that we have on the TIRF website that Ryan will be sharing the codes and links by the end of this presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on, let's look at Google Notebook LM. This is actually very important. This is one of my favorite AI tools because for my class, it's kind of a game changer because I like creating multimodal materials. All you need to do is to upload your lesson materials. And as you can see on the left box, based on the materials that you upload, Notebook LM can create audios, slide decks, video overviews, and even like quizzes, flashcards, infographics. So there are a lot of options that it can create, and it is a big time saver, especially if you want to make your lessons multimodal. One of my favorite features of it is creating videos that students can watch during the lesson, or sometimes I give these videos as assignments. What makes it unique, I would say, well, we can find a video online or an audio online, or sometimes we can find some infographic. But the issue is sometimes these videos might include information that you would like, that you may not necessarily show to your students. The advantage of using Notebook LM, the content strictly comes from you. Therefore, there's not the issue of information pollution or unnecessary information coming with the audio or the data. On the flip side, it offers no editing options. So once the output is generated based on your prompt, you cannot change it any longer. For example, it's going to create a slide deck for you, but each slide actually is going to be an image itself. So you cannot necessarily edit that image, or you need to use tools like Photoshop, and it's going to be a little bit difficult. And I would say the second downside is, well, on one hand, we are talking about creating multimodal lessons, but because these outputs created only for the educational purposes, well, authenticity is no longer sustained. So there is always a trade-off between absolute control and authentic materials. And can we go to next one? Next up, we have School AI. School AI is maybe less renowned, maybe, or less popular than Notebook LM. So I would like to talk about what School AI is a little bit. So almost all of us, I think, at some point have tested out some AI tools, and we talk to these AI tools. But the issue is sometimes many of the popular AI tools like ChatGPT or Gemini, they can sometimes hallucinate, or sometimes they can talk about issues that you do not want actually your students to be talking about. With this AI tool, you are going to give the tool a prompt, and if you like, you can also add some files. And then you're going to set your student's grade level. Based on your prompt and the edit file, this AI tool is going to talk to your students individually. You're going to share a code with your students, and then your students are going to talk to School AI. The nice issue is School AI is not going to talk anything else because you have created a very specific prompt. I hope it is clear. So how I use School AI? When I give them a prompt, sometimes I add some files. It can be any grammar topic or a reading text. So when students individually talk to this AI tool based on my prompt and lesson materials, School AI teaches them these topics. It corrects their work when students provide answers. And when students when students' answers are not correct, School AI remind them what they miss out individually. It is like a teacher's assistant tutor for each student in the class. Another advantage is this. When each student chats with School AI based on your prompt and lesson materials, on your screen as a teacher, the tool shows you each student's engagement with the tool. So the tool summarizes the strengths and weaknesses of each individual student. And as you are using School AI, I would like to remind you one vital tip. As you are preparing School AI, it's going to ask you, give you the option to preview the chat. So after you give your prompt and your files, start talking to School AI as if you are one of the students in your class. This is called previewing option, so that you know exactly what the students will see. If you don't like how AI will talk to your students, you can change the prompt. For example, I uploaded our last quiz on School AI, and even though students took the test before, I wanted them to have a second experience with the quiz. The issue was the quiz wanted School AI wanted to ask students to quiz questions one by one, and it became a little bit boring, I believe. So I asked School AI, hey, can you shuffle the questions? So School AI directed prompt gave students different questions. So for example, when student A was answering the question 3, student B was answering the question number 20. And these are much or less School AI. And now I would like to introduce Hakel. Actually, before Hakel, we are going to ask you one more Mentimeter question.
Just a second here. This is always a little clunky having to toggle from one to the other. It's coming up now.
Right. Please click on the join button on the right side of your screen. And the new question is coming. Here it is, yes. In this question, I would like to ask you if you have ever used Notebook LM or School AI, and what challenges did you run into, or what else would you like to know about these tools? So you can create short responses.
Honor, I'll just jump in with this comment here is that the input that you all are giving us today on not only these Mentimeter slides, but also we're going to have a post-webinar survey and hopefully collect some more information is going to help inform some of the decisions as to where this project is going to go next. This project being the AI Show and Tell webinar. We intend on producing another round of videos. And if you haven't seen the AI Show and Tell videos quite yet, there are 12 of them available at this time, or 10, excuse me, I misspoke. We're going to be sharing a QR code to that information a little bit later towards the end of the presentation. So your input is valuable to us, both from the Mentimeter prompts and then that webinar as well, the post-webinar survey. You've got a comment, Honor, that is from Usama. Never use any AI tools for teaching. Are you falling behind?
Behind.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we are AI astronauts, as we said. We are discovering the territory. So you can, come and discover yourself. We are hopefully providing you some good tools that might be necessary or useful for your own school context.
I think that's really, sorry, Honor, I think that's a really provocative question. I'd love to come back to it later towards the discussion time, not to take away from Hakel's presentation that she's going to do, but I would like to share some thoughts on that. I don't think you're being left behind at this point, Usama. I think that you're engaging in an appropriate way, but let's come back to it just a little bit.
Yes.
Okay, so you.
When students actually say talk to School AI, they actually chat. So they take their phones and then they chat with School AI. That's what I'm thinking for the question. And I think we can continue with Hakel. Thank you, everybody, for answering the Mentimeter question.
Let's get back to this.
Very well. And I'll be, all right. So hi, everyone. I'm Raquel. I'm speaking from the Global South in São Paulo, Brazil. And it's a pleasure to be here exchanging ideas with teachers, teacher educators on the integration of AI to teaching and in the teaching of English as a foreign language. Just to contextualize, I have been working with teaching English and also teaching English over 25 years of my life, and teacher training and research on the field of technology for about 15 years. And what I bring you here, it connects the integration of my classroom practice, in-person classes and online classes to what I have learned so far, not only in terms of tools to use, but considering some important things. For instance, using free tools. I'm talking specifically today about Gemini, but this can be replicated to other similar LLM tools that are not only free, of course, at a shorter capacity, but still possible to be used within classrooms and for learning. It's important that they are mobile friendly, considering that a small number of schools have equipment to use. I also consider the fact that when teaching, we might come across with students with, for example, in my case, visual impairments, blind students or students with low vision. I have taught in person in Cultura Inglesa students with visual impairments and currently teaching and coordinating and preparing the design of inclusive lessons for the Brazilian Paralympic Committee. I have a number of students having classes with the sighted students. So it's important to understand the variety and diversity of our classrooms. Well, as for the key pillars of using AI for active inquiry, so the students investigate along with the teacher, structured learner training is indeed key. It's important to understand that digital literacy comes along. They have to understand where to click, where to go, and the teachers as well. So the perspective I have here is the importance of teacher development in digital literacy, and also sharing that along with the students with what is called students' agency. They are part of the process of literally typing or clicking and listening. And it takes me to this item, active auditory engagement. Well, the perspectives of using AI that I propose, it's in the video, and that's what I do in online classes and in-person classes as well, requires the students to work with a prompt that I previously tested behind the scenes. I like to talk about integrating AI as the behind the scenes where we teachers prepare the prompt and the activity we have in mind, and the student's perspective, that's where they go into action and start working with the AI. And the auditory engagement helps us in two important perspectives. When learning a foreign language, the challenge is to understand the words, what is spoken, and also to be able to speak that in an intelligible way. So when there's an output, the result of that prompt, I always tell them to click and listen so that it's a second cognitive engagement to the content of the output. This is also helpful when they need to use this information to have conversation in pairs, in trios. Because remember, the end is not the interaction with the artificial intelligence. The AI is a tool so that when they interact in pairs or in trios, they have expanded their vocabulary and they can express their opinions with more confidence. And I'm talking here about all levels, elementary, A1, A2 students as well, because everything will depend on the prompt. Very simple prompt, very simple output. We can work with very elementary students. But there is also a very important thing. This feature allows us to include the visually impaired students. Books, course books, and if you think of materials such as slides, visual engagement through photos. So we can use this so that the artificial intelligence describes the photo in English. And using the correct prompt, this description can be straight to the point. So it helps the student who cannot see, but it also helps the ones who are learning in class. That's a very important perspective. There is also another important pillar, co-designed experiences. It's important to tell them they have to support each other, have different roles. So one is with, for example, the mobile phone or the computer, the other one is paying attention at the vocabulary, or another one is taking notes. because it's all about integrating to class, to the curriculum. So there is the goal of a particular class. AI is a tool. It's not like it's going to be an AI-based class. Then I would like to also mention the importance of getting to understand there will be glitches and hiccups through the process. Very often when I'm giving trainings to the teacher teams, I feel that there is this constraint feeling, oh, what if it doesn't work? Maybe it doesn't work. And it's okay because we learn through the process. It is important to understand we are not in control of everything. So connectivity, outputs that maybe because one used Gemini, the other Copilot, the other ChatGPT, the outputs are not exactly the same. But these are opportunities to develop this digital literacy. An important message that I'd like to share with you is the fact that technology must serve pedagogical goals. So it's not an AI-based lesson. Also, consider sharing the steps with the learners as well. So the listening part, the typing, and the teacher guiding the process. I would like to share something here with you because, yes, all right. Let me show you. There is, in the video where I'm presenting the step-by-step of using generative AI, you are going to realize that there will be two perspectives. The perspective of the teacher and this perspective of the students typing and listening. So, and all the steps along the way. Something else that is important to take into consideration is the fact that during this video, there will be the glitches. I actually had a hiccup through the presentation, and I shared with you how to handle that. It is like a step by step. Well, in the next part that refers to the other video, because one supports the other, I talked about the importance of studying global frameworks. Understanding the tools, the latest tools is important, but it's teaching we are talking about. So when we consider the classroom practice, all right, this needs to be grounded into research, into solid practices. So I talked about here integrating global frameworks and local frameworks as well. What I'm showing is the AI competency framework for teachers by UNESCO. And I had the pleasure to be there when this was launched, and I have studied it and integrated to every step in teacher development practices and of course in using with the students. OECD has a very important infographic and guidance as well. TIRF has a specific policy paper that focuses and applies towards teaching English as a foreign language. We cannot forget that if this is your field of teaching, because when teaching a language, the focus is communication and speaking. And of course, just as an example, I'm mentioning here the Brazilian frameworks from the Ministry of Education. They are called Referencial de Inteligência Artificial and Base Nacional Comum Curricular, BNCC, about the integration of technology. I'd like to leave a message here that when we consider the different frameworks for learning, we need to understand that this integration is so the end process, you can Click the next part, please. Thank you. These macro level global policies, yes, they can be applied to our classrooms, very local classrooms as well. I would like to show, to conclude this part, two more things. Apart from the frameworks. I would like to show you, this is the video, which is in the playlist. It will be shared with you later on. And I'd like to conclude with the UNESCO framework for teachers, talking about something very important, this lifelong professional learning, that I believe matches the question one of the colleagues watching us here asked. Is it too late? No, it is not. And we need to understand that the competencies, the guidance, they are very important for us in the process. And everybody is learning. Maybe one person knows lots of tools, but don't feel impressed by that. It's about tools and integrating to our classroom context. Thank you.
Thank you, Raquel. And now we're going to continue with Trang.
Hello, I'm Trang from Vietnam in Asia. If you know where Vietnam is, then type number 1. If you don't know, just type 0 in the chat box. All right. So, thank you. So you know Vietnam. Okay. Now, so my part today is to present to you two tools that I think that very useful for you. The first one is brisk teaching. I'm sure that many of you know that, right? But if you don't know, maybe you should try. You can follow the video that I put here on the screen. It is on TIRF website, so you know what it is all about. For brisk teaching, it provides you an ecology system of tools where you can automatically convert lessons or articles or PDFs or Google Docs, slides, web page, anything into the materials that you need. You can generate lesson plan quizzes. You can give student feedback. You can have kind of differentiate activities for students of all levels. Okay, it is very powerful. But that to me, a take no vote would feel like a disadvantage as well, because when you have so many at hand, then you would be so scared what to start first. So for me, I would start with the podcast first. This is a function that I really like about brisk teaching. In context like in Vietnam, we usually have one compulsory textbook for the school, for the province, for the city, you know. So the kind of materials we have kind of limited. And as teachers, we want the student to be exposed to English as much as possible, right? And we want them to be able to access authentic materials. However, sometimes authentic materials are very difficult for them. And that is why we need to use this kind of tools in order to grade it, to put it to the levels that we can do for the students. So I have a series of podcasts for my students as a resource they can do at home or for their own learning. So that is about brisk teaching. The second tools that I want to tell you is classroom screen. For this one, it is very different from the tools that I and my team member have introduced to you before. It's not about generating lesson or things like that. I also see your answer in the survey, in the Mentimeter about the functions that you use AI for. And I don't see anybody use this kind of function. So I think you should try that. This is classroom screen, which means all the tools you want to use in order to manage a class is in this one. So if you enter this website, you have every tool visually at hand. So for example, in the past, if you want to use a clock, you will have to use a website. And then if you want to use a dice, you have to use a website. If you want to use the wheel of names and use another website. But now you have everything in one page. So everything will be very organized, and that will help you with classroom management through clear instructions and routines. So it reduces distraction and it get the student engaged, get your activity becomes really interesting. So over here, you will see on the screen a list, at the end of the picture, you will see a lot of tools like poems and random name pickers and drawing tools, a noise meter, things like that. And if you play my video, you will see that this is a screenshot of the time I introduced to you about the use of the dice and the scoreboard when you want to play games in the class. So with this one, it's so convenient for the teachers. Okay, and I haven't thought of any disadvantage yet. So if you have any disadvantage when you try it, then you can leave a comment under my video, then I can see it. Okay, let's get back to Arne.
Thank you very much, Trang. So we would like to make this part of our session more interactive. So we would like to leave the scene to you, actually. You can either chat or you can use your microphone if you have any questions. And if you would like to add your comments, we would like to hear from you, from our participants in the webinar today.
I have a comment. I appreciated when, I forget who, I think it was Raquel, was talking about that it needs to be mobile friendly, the tool that you are using. And really, that is so true. I worked with university students in Ukraine for 2 years virtually. And I think sometimes people think, oh, well, we can use this and then we can use that. You have to remember that they were doing their entire lesson on their phones. You have to really be mindful of that. And of course, because of the situation in Ukraine, one often loses connection and things like that. But I do appreciate that comment because whereas most of us here in the States would be on a computer, they are not in many other places.
Thank you, Tracy, for bringing this up. It's important, and even for class preparation, when I gave a teacher development course for teachers in Bangladesh, for example, they would follow the course and do everything from their mobile. So this is important to consider, as well as the fact that we are most probably going to have one tool for a group of 3 or even more students. And this collaboration feature, repetition, guidance, will put them at ease as well. Thank you for pointing out the context, for example, in Ukraine, very important for teaching and learning, and to deal with the adversities and still be able to access the tool.
Yeah. Sure. Thank you.
Yeah, can I go back to Sama's question from the beginning? And also there is another one that you were adding here now about course books, right? So about being left behind or about course book usage, the way I see it is that artificial intelligence tools are not and shall never be an obligation in your classroom. They should be as helpful as a course book is for you or as a workbook is for you. It can add variety, it can add content, but it can also add nothing. You should always be mindful of what your objectives are, what your outcomes are, and what do you want to do with that. Using AI just for the sake of it, oh, I have to use AI because everyone is using. That is not productive, and that is not the rule of thumb here. The idea is use AI as long as it adds something to your classroom. Use AI as long as it is important for your students and it will bring engagement. There is this, everything that you do nowadays or everywhere that you go, it's AI for teaching, AI for teaching, AI for teaching. AI will take the place of teachers. AI will never take the place of teachers. You are the one in control. You are in the driving seat. You are the one to decide what you are going to use, how you are going to use, and most importantly, why you are going to use it. If it doesn't add anything, you're simply not using it. As for course books, even though course books each and every day bring innovations, each and every day bring more interesting materials. Sometimes it does not cater perfectly well for your group of students. Sometimes you have to enlarge that activity because it was too little for your students or because it was too much for your students. They loved it and you want to do even more. So use AI to broaden your scope. So there are ways for using it and there are reasons for using tools. So I don't think we should feel intimidated or at the same time obliged to do anything with AI, only if it adds to your reality. This is what I would say, Osama. I don't know if that helps with what you were asking.
I'd like to, the same way Anna is saying here, there is a place for everything in learning. So there is a place for course books and for writing and using a pencil and paper, because learning is a complex cognitive process. So the screens alone cannot handle that. And like Anna, you mentioned, sometimes the integration is possible, not all the times. Once I was teaching and the lesson was about underwater life. And then how can you start with the question, what do you know about underwater marine life? I mean, how much do people usually know about that? So that was a moment to listen, to choose a few things that they could find out. So it was relevant then. But like you mentioned, not at all. I see it as a collaboration, the human element, what is called human-centered approach to artificial intelligence integration. So the teacher takes the decisions and guides the learners. If it is appropriate, if there is some gain, great, integrate. If there isn't, don't. And definitely not all the time.
And I would even add, you might be surprised because sometimes we think, oh, I only teach teenagers. Oh, they use internet a lot. They know much more than I do. They know a very specific part of using digital technology, and it serves them to maybe to cheat, to copy, to paste, or maybe uh, to help with some studies. And I tell them all the time, you know what? You should use AI nowadays. You should use ChatGPT, but you have to develop your own critical and thinking skills inside of it. So criticize it, know if it is correct, know if it really tailors for you, if it caters to your needs. So this direct use of technology just for the sake of technology. Oh, because I have to implement this because everyone is implementing. It might just not be helpful for you, but it might be helpful for you as an educator to learn more things and always criticizing what you are seeing. You can't just take it for granted that it is correct. Honor mentioned hallucinations, it's a fact. It will bring you odd information. If you are not aware of the content or if you are not in control of what you are doing, this is going to be a big flop. This is going to be a big, big flop. So, think carefully why you are using it, how you are integrating it, and remember that you can use it for different deliveries. You can use it for yourself, you can use with your classroom, you can ask students to do some research about it. So there are so many ways to integrate AI if you find it useful or meaningful to your objectives.
If you have,
Thank you, Anna and Hakel. Sorry, Honor. I'm just going to make one announcement here as we're kind of, what, we are 5 minutes, 7 minutes away from wrapping up. We'll keep the discussion going, and I'm going to just highlight a few key words here. The first one, we would love to have your input on today's session. You're going to find some items about future topics that TIRF could cover with our AI astronauts. as well as during a future webinar that we would aim to do similar to the one that we're hosting today. And for anybody interested in a certificate of participation that you'd like to keep in your portfolio, your professional portfolio, that is, after completing the survey, then you'll see a link that you can go and copy and paste into your browser, download the certificate, and add your name. So that's the first QR code. Perhaps the most important one, of course, is the QR code in the middle. There's a YouTube playlist that's been put together that features all of the videos from Anna, Honor, Hakel, and Trang and Viri. Viri's not with us today, but you can go see all of those videos there. Go ahead and scan that QR code. If you would like to watch any of the videos, they're also posted on TIRF's website as well. And then finally, if you're interested in staying current on TIRF initiatives, our programs I mentioned earlier at the very start of the session, the TIRF Bailey Award program, the application deadline, as I mentioned, was June 1st. So there's still time to apply. If you're interested in doing research and you're currently practicing teacher of English, the award bestows $1,000 to the recipients, as well as mentoring opportunities from TIRF. You can apply with another colleague or two if you like. But you can read about that on TIRF's website, and you'll, of course, have other resources, including some from partners if you sign up for our newsletter. So I want to just kind of point out those 3 QR codes, but let's keep the discussion going. Whoops, sorry, I didn't mean to go to that one quite yet.
Ryan, we had the question here about the recording of the session. Yes, you have replied right that the recording will be mailed to our attendees.
Absolutely. Yes, indeed. After the session is done, I'll go and email all the registrants from today's session. I'll need a little bit of time to get it posted on our website, but the recording will be made available. And I'll be providing links to these different QR codes and everything. So if you missed it, if you just can't save anything right away, no worries. I'll be writing to you. Hopefully your email address is valid, the one that you registered with. Thanks, Anna. We have other questions or comments or any thoughts at all to share in these last few minutes? Okay.
Yeah, there's a question for you there, Ryan, for opportunities as presenters or speakers.
That is a good question. TIRF is developing an initiative that we're going to be sharing information about relatively soon. The early introduction I'll give to it is called our TIRF Influencers Program, where we do have quite a few people who reach out to us, can I volunteer? Can I work with you? And because we're not a membership-based organization like a T-Cell International Association or the T-Cell associations that might be in your context, we don't have specific activities for members. But through this initiative, we're trying to do more with people who are enthusiastic in TIRF's work, whether that's potentially as a speaker or joining us as a reviewer, or can be any number of different things. So Usama, my best input to that right now, or my best response would be is just continue to stay plugged into TIRF through our newsletter and our socials, especially LinkedIn and Facebook. We post pretty much all of the same stuff that we add to our website to both of those platforms. We're just getting started on Substack as well. That might be an interesting ad for you for your social media presences. We've got an AI blog, kind of blog type format, but meant to be a little provocative, that we're going to be unveiling next week as well. So there are quite a few ways to engage. But stay tuned for the TIRF Influencers Initiative, because that could be something that probably aligns with what you have in mind. And then collaborations for publications and presenting or other opportunities. TIRF is not really a publisher, so not so much for that activity, but depending on how the TIRF influencer initiatives evolves, there could be more and more opportunities. So just continue to stay plugged in, and we are going to be also, before maybe later this year, if things can come together for us in time, we're going to be offering some research mentoring tools, not like individual one-on-one training, but a series of videos not on AI. We're going to be covering about a dozen different topics. AI, the use of AI in research is one of those. And again, I'll keep emphasizing the newsletter. Sign up so that you can stay current. You're going to be seeing a lot more output from TIRF, our volunteer trustees. We do have Lorraine DeMatos on our call this morning. Lorraine, I think you had your video on at some point, and Suzanne Pamphira-Vries, our vice president, is also on the call today as well. And they are both part of this AI Show and Tell initiative from TIRF's kind of planning effort side. And so, yes, thank you for being here. Thank everyone for being here. I know we're just about to wrap up. Feel free to drop in additional comments or questions, or our AI astronauts, if you have any further thoughts that you wish to impart on the team. And just thank you so much to all of you for being here. Anna, Honor, Hakel, and Trang. I know it's really early in some case, late in other cases. Trang, you're going to have a good rest tonight, I'm sure.
So we can go to our final slide, which is actually just says,
thank you.
Yes, thank you message. So this is the information about us, and feel free to reach out anytime you like, and hope to see you in future TIRF webinars. We are planning to have a second one in September this year.